Dear students, we will continue the Module 2. In this lecture video, we will be studying smart objects. So, what are the smart objects? Smart objects are quite simply the building blocks of IoT. IoT, it is a combination of smart objects connected with internet or network who can share the data with each other. So, they are what transform everyday objects into a network of intelligent objects that are able to learn from and interact with their environment in a meaningful way. So a smart object is a device that has at a minimum the following four defining characteristics. Any smart objects can have four properties. First one is processing unit. So a smart object has some type of processing unit for acquiring data, processing and analyzing, sensing information received by the sensors. So every smart object has a processing unit which will be acquiring the data to process and analyze by sensing the information received by the sensors. Coordinating control signals to any actuators. So that processing unit will also coordinate with the actuators and controlling a variety of functions on the smart object, including the communication and power system. So next characteristic is sensors and actuators. So a smart object is capable of interacting with physical world through sensors and actuators. Any smart object can interact with the physical world with the sensors and actuators. A smart object does not need to contain both sensors and actuators. In fact, a smart object can contain one or multiple sensors and or actuators depending on the application. Based on the applications of the sensor of the smart object, it can have one or more than one sensors and actuators. Next is communication device. The communication unit is responsible for connecting a smart object with other objects and the outside world. Communication device. So, a communication device for a smart object can be either wired or wireless. As we know that smart objects need to interact with each other by sharing the data. So, there should be some communication device in the smart object which will enable the objects to communicate with each other. Next is power source. Smart objects have components that need to be powered. Interestingly, the most significant power consumption usually comes from the communication unit of a smart object. Interestingly, the most significant power consumption usually comes from the communication unit of smart object. So these are the four fundamental units every smart object should have: processing unit, sensor and actuator, communication device, and power source. Next is the broad generalizations and trends impacting IoT. So what are the different trends impacting Internet of Things? Size is decreasing. Some smart objects are so small they are not even visible to the naked eye. This reduced size makes smart objects easier to embed. Nowadays, because of the technology enhancement, size of smart objects is reducing gradually. Next one is power consumption is decreasing. The different hardware components of a smart object continually consume less power. Some battery powered sensors last 10 or more years without battery replacement. Next, processing power is increasing. Processors are continually getting more powerful and smaller. So processing power of the smart objects is also increasing day by day. Next, communication capabilities are improving. It's no big surprise that wireless speeds are continually increasing, but they are also increasing in range. IoT is driving the development of more and more specialized communication protocols covering a greater diversity of use cases and environment. Since due to the technology enhancement, communication capabilities of smart objects are also increasing. Next is communication is being increasingly standardized. There is strong push in the industry to develop open standards for IoT communication protocols. In addition, there are more and more open source efforts to advance IoT. So, because of the technology enhancement in the IoT, that the standard of the communication is getting increased day by day. We will finish this topic till here only. The next topic will continue of the module 2 in the next lecture video. Thank you.